Good evening once again, and welcome to the Living with Purpose and Presence, the Raj Yoga Experience podcast. So we are here for almost more than a month, and I'm very, very happy that the conversation continues, and we keep meeting very interesting people, interesting experiences from grandmothers to fathers to children,
Very nice.
13 years old. So there's a different variety of people and nationalities that we have met over the last month, and I'm happy to welcome a new character in our episode this evening, and hopefully we will have few more episodes. Today, Dubai is very, very busy.
Yeah.
Coming here, there's so much light, there's so much grandiose that I can see from outside. And because it's October, it's already mid of October and it's Diwali time. So there's so much brightness outside, there's lots of fun. But today we're here to take a different choice. We want to go in a different path and talk about something a little bit more quiet and about the inner being. So I'm glad to welcome today Prakash Chugani. He is been learning meditation for how many decades? 3, 4?
Almost 3, Almost 28 years.
Yeah, so Prakash has been learning and also teaching meditation for a basic Raj Yoga course here in the Raj Yoga Center. But also he supports companies here in Dubai and in the Middle East. You may have heard him in Bahrain and in Oman, helping learning organizations in their learning needs. So as coach and a trainer. So that's something also we would like to learn a little bit more about with Prakash and what are his experiences in his journey as a coach, and how does Raj Yoga help him go through that process of helping employees, workplace settings. That would be very interesting to hear from you. But to start with, so what brought you to Raj Yoga?
Well, it was more, I would say, chance than choice. I did not know I would come over here. Early during my starting days of my career, I somehow was looking at a place where I could go for a little bit of spiritual development, understanding myself, understanding the Supreme, knowing really the entire ways in which that life works.
How old were you when you were in that search?
I think 21, 22.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Yeah. Because not a lot of people actually start searching for that, especially in a place like Dubai. But why then, and why do you think it happened in Dubai?
I don't think there was any incident as such, but I think it was more a pull that I was sensing inside. So I really was trying to listen, read more about spiritual books. I was reading, going to spiritual places. I was connecting with people, and so that's how I came across the Raj Yoga Center. And then I knew that there's a certain course I have to listen to or go through, and I listened to that course. It was a 7-day course, and I remember the first day itself, and I was told that I am not this body, but I'm a spiritual being in this body. And that made me really feel very nice, but it also I just felt that there was this connection with something inside which said, yes, this is who I am. And I, in a way, felt that I'm listening to something which is very true. And then so I went through the course, and then when I finished the course, I really felt that the thirst that I had for that knowledge was in a large way satiated. And I felt, wow, this is what I was looking for.
Interesting. But since then, you said it now it's more than almost 3 decades. But from that first time that you have come across Raj Yoga, what would you say, the most beautiful aspect of it that keeps pulling you back, that keeps you steady and continue this journey or this path?
One of the things that there are many things, but one of the things that I can tell you is I have a clear goal, when I'm over here. So I'm not just running in circles, but I have a very clear goal in terms of what is my best version?
Mhm.
What can I be? What's the potential capability that I can be? And so when I look at myself in that, I'm constantly seeing where I'm right now and how am I progressing towards that. And it's a very beautiful journey every day. It's more evolutionary. I can see that space slowly, or that thing evolving inside me.
Mhm.
And so that's what I'm enjoying the entire journey every single day. I mean, it's not always going up straight towards that,
Mhm.
but there are ups and downs as well in that whole journey.
Mhm.
So there's a constant move, there's a constant reflection, there's a constant study of understanding what I require more of, and so that's why I enjoy this journey and I'm going towards it.
Okay, you mentioned that there was a goal
Yeah.
and you were looking at it. But back then, when you were starting here in Dubai without the Raj Yoga, how different is that goal then and
Yeah.
after you found yourself learning it in from that perspective of the Raj Yoga experience?
Yeah, I think the goal in that particular at that point in time would be more career-oriented goals. It would have been more to do with, you know, I was young, and for me, it was all about enjoyment and going here, doing this. These are my bucket lists. I got to get these things done,
Mhm.
and so that was what the goal was. But it was nothing that was really as elevated as I got from here.
Mhm.
And so here, it was really more about a spiritual goal that I know that I couldn't start pursuing and looking forward to. And I kind of understand that the whole temporary aspect of every other thing that I'm actually pursuing when at that point in time, which I was doing. And I
Mhm.
realized that, okay, whatever I'm trying to do here, it's temporary. It's probably limited to this particular birth or this body. And then the
Mhm.
moment as I move on, it's all just going to be left behind. And so I think that was something that came really strong to me, that, okay, this is good what you're doing, but it's very limited and it's
Mhm.
very transitory. It's very, it could just disappear in a moment. And so if you're looking, and I understood and learned, as I said, the first lesson was I'm a spiritual being and
Mhm.
I'm eternal,
Mhm.
and so if I'm looking at myself in that way, which I resonated with, then I was asking myself, okay, I do what I'm doing, which is fantastic, but what else am I doing for me as that spiritual being? Am I really working at that level also?
Mhm.
And so that aim came in that, okay, fine. So if that's me and if this is my true self, then there is a certain potential, there's a certain goal, there's a certain space I want to really go and achieve. And that's how I started moving.
Okay, you mentioned about spiritual being,
Yeah.
spirituality. So this is something that's not very often heard,
Mm.
especially in a very fast moving city, in a very cosmopolitan nature. But I also feel like sometimes nowadays, I speak to a lot of young people and they also feel like, spirituality is something that maybe resonates with them in the sense of, you know, I think does the culture in Dubai being different with so many different nationalities, religions, and all this amalgamation of differences helps them to see that there is also something common among each other.
Yeah.
So I feel this kind of trend is starting to surface in the city, in Dubai, and I think in many parts of the Middle East as well. So when you mentioned about that, understanding yourself as a spiritual being, how big is that shift? Or was it just a gradual shift? How would you describe that shift from your understanding of yourself previously as Prakash or as someone who's having a decision to, work here, have a career, have a goal, and as a spiritual being, how big is that shift? And was it difficult? Were there challenges, would you say?
So there are two questions. One is the shift in terms of what the shift was
Yeah.
like and the challenges to that. So the shift is still happening.
Okay.
One is, I think, so what I learned from here in Rajago, there are four subjects. The first one is knowing.
Mhm.
And so I get to know myself. Okay, fine. I am a spiritual being, and these are my values. This is how my core is all about peace, love, happiness, and power. That's all that is inside me. So everything that I've been looking for outside actually exists inside me.
Mhm.
And so that's the first shift. So earlier, I was obviously trying to acquire and experience from the external world for all of these. So
Mhm.
the first shift came is that I am it already. I have all these within me, and not just I have it, but this is me. I am it.
Mhm.
So that was a big shift. So there was no more I had to postpone, I had to condition that if this happens, then this will happen. So that big shift took place, that I am already this.
Mhm.
So that's the knowing part. And then there is the reflection where we sit in meditation or yoga, what we call it. And I'm trying to connect to that space. So I know it, but I need to experience it. And so that happens through reflection. It happens through meditation. And so that's what I'm doing as another subject, is to reflect on it, to go into that space of meditation. And then comes the next step, which is becoming it, inculcating all those things that I have. So through awareness, so where attention goes, awareness, or I would say, yeah, the more I pay attention to something, to that extent, energy goes there.
Okay.
And where energy, let's say, flows, life grows.
Yeah.
So the more I'm reflecting on the fact that I am peaceful, I'm sensing energy in that direction, and I can see that it's growing more and more. And so that's the spot where I'm reflecting, and then I'm becoming. The third stage is to really become, but that's a slow stage. So, and that's where the obstacles come.
Yeah.
The knowledge is easy, no obstacles.
Can
I know
you
it.
share some experiences of that? I mean, in your own personal space, how did you manage that shift? Do you observe it as happening, or you just happen to find out that, oh, you're there already? How was that experience so far?
You know, it's very easy to experience it, but it's not so easy to maintain that experience and to have that on a constant, ongoing basis in a way which I would like it to be.
Okay.
And that's my aim. My aim is to very naturally be at that space of peace and power and purity and love and happiness. And I know that's me, and I know it's how far away is that from me? Just one thought away.
Okay.
I just create that one thought of awareness that this is who I am, and I am it, and I experience it, and I feel it, and then I embody it.
Yeah.
And that's the third lesson. But that's the obstacle that comes is, it's easy for me to get entangled with everything that is happening outside.
Yeah.
And then I divorce myself from this, and I start again getting into everything else, and I could have those desires, and I start again getting into the space where I forget.
Yeah.
So the moment I'm actually remembering, I'm good. When I forget, I go back into the old ways of doing things, and I believe that that's what is the source, and I start looking at it, and I start depending on those things. Then again, it takes another flash of 1 second of an awareness, and I say, oh, this is who I am. You know, so that's the kind of game of, forgetting, remembering, forgetting, remembering.
Yeah.
So the whole aspect is, how can I stay more aware?
Yeah, because that's actually the challenge. Okay, I know that I am that, but how to maintain that regularity, or constant nature of being spiritual, or being me as an inner being in the middle of so many things. Because I mean, admit it or not, the life here is busy and lots of engagement, and you kind of need to get that space wherein you can go back inside. What are the tricks there? I mean, is there a practice that would help anybody who's started or who's still continuing in this journey to make that strong, or make that practice and habit more like a foundation to keep going? Because I think that's also, I mean, for me also, as in this journey, it's been 15 years.
Yeah.
But what I like what you said, it's remembering and forgetting. But sometimes I feel like, am I fooling myself doing this and back and forth? But then again, I keep coming back to the awareness that, this is life. I have to accept that, I can't just, let go of those that I have experienced. And I feel like experience is my go back. I'm holding on to the past experiences. Like when I had this experience of peace, I love that moment. I love it so much that I want to go back to it. And so when things are going crazy and I can't, go back easily to that experience that I had in the past. So I just really say, find a way to remember them. So what was like for you in terms of experience? What you feel is that most memorable experience that you've had in this journey that you want to keep going back to?
It's something that I actually experience every day.
Oh,
It's
wow.
not just when experience a massive, big, huge experience that I've had.
Yeah, but describe to us what it's like.
Hmm. I might have to tell you my whole, what's my entire day looking like if that's the
But
space.
just like for the moment, for example, you are in that moment of experience. Is it hard to describe really what it's like to be at peace, or what it's like to be in that space of love, for example? So because you have mentioned several aspects of the
Yeah.
spiritual being, the love, the peace, the happiness. And so you can just,
Yeah, so for me, I
go
think
back and
if you
forth.
ask me the experience, as I said, it's not one outstanding experience as such. There's
Okay.
several like that. It happens every single day. And in fact, my aim is to experience it in the now, in the moment, right now, as I speak to you.
Yeah.
Can I actually experience peace? And I can. As I said, it takes me just one thought.
That's
I am
wonderful.
peaceful, or I'm a peaceful being. That's it, as simple as that. And to me, it's not about that one experience, but it's more checking every single day in terms of how am I staying with this experience and staying this particular thought over a period of time in a more constant way. I may be interacting, talking. So one of the things I do is I do a lot of corporate work where I'm helping people to learn, and I'm a trainer and I'm a coach. So I'm sitting there. Am I stable in my core whilst I'm doing what I'm doing? Or do I step out of it and I lose my identity of who I am, and then I start thinking, oh, I am this trainer, and then you should like me. I'm trying to impress you. At the end of the day, tell me how good I was. Give me that input, and then I use that input to feel good.
Okay.
Absolutely wrong. That's what I don't want to.
Okay.
And that's when I'm waiting for that one beautiful experience what makes me feel good. No, I need to feel balanced every single moment, every single place. Can I actually have that stability in my life? And that's an aim I want to go towards, where my identity is not lost from who I truly am in terms of the
In the
roles that I
middle of
play.
that, yeah.
Yes. So stay with that, because in that space, there is the beautiful experience of everything I want to experience. There's joy, there's peace, there's love, there's a huge amount of power in that. And so those are fantastic experiences, and that it can be right now as I speak. I am in that experience the moment I just become aware of it. So that's the experience. So I wake up in the morning, I'm meditating, and I wake up early because at that point in time, I would say that experience is at the highest, the peak, because I'm not doing any work. I don't have to rush. And it's just me, my core, and I connect with the divine, the supreme.
Yeah.
And so for me, that's the most beautiful experience that I can have. And it goes on for 45 minutes to 1 hour. And that's the space where I really feel the highest, the best. I feel very nice. And it's a beautiful start for the day. And I go on and I try to see how I can maintain that particular space as well.
How has it changed the way you impart, your skill set when you try to coach others? And in that space, how do you bring that when you mentioned about it doing on a daily basis and you're working as a coach? So how has the experience so far taking your spiritual experiences to a corporate setting, for example, and giving that space? What's your experiences on that?
I think it's been phenomenal, and I think it's important for us to integrate spirituality into the things we are doing, and that's the whole idea about what I do, and that's the beauty of spirituality. So for me, what's really important, and it's a very spiritual element, is acceptance. You're accepting who I am whilst I am there. So I'm really at peace with myself, and I'm accepting everyone also, no matter where they are in their journey of life. I accept them as they are. And I think that sometimes can be difficult when I shift outside this space. And for me, not judging them, not criticizing them, not complaining about things, but just accepting them and even appreciating whatever they've done. Many times I'm not able to see those things. I probably can just see a few things that they may be doing at that point in time, and I can very quickly judge and say, the person's not interested, the person's so distant, the person's so disruptive, this, that, and the other. And I can really create some stories which may be absolutely false. But can I really come from a space of true acceptance? And I think that's the expression of love in a real way with each and every one.
So that's like bringing that spiritual nature to that kind of space. That's very interesting. Because I've never heard that I think a lot of coaches I've heard also starting to create those kind of discussions on the values, the virtues. But you're talking here about acceptance, being that in the space of. But what about people coming from different religion, different nationalities, different culture?
Yeah.
Is that difficult to bring spirituality in the center of that discussion? Because of course, like in any corporate culture, for example, I think this is one of the things that they have to deal with, is that there are so many differences in a particular organization, because you bring in a lot of different cultures and nationalities working together.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of embedded in those people working, employees, employers, CEOs, and managers. And then you bring them together, and then all these clashes and differences are in the middle of that. I mean, let's face it, we all work in that kind of environment. So how do you see that playing out for different nationalities or different people that you meet, and then you bring in your unique brand of coaching?
I believe that it's mandatory that you bring in that, especially when you have a mixed religion, you got mixed nationalities, you've got this diverse group. If you're not bringing a your spiritual knowledge, your spiritual self into that space, that's when you start seeing those differences. But the moment I'm actually going to be able to bring my spiritual understanding, then there are no differences. Then we are all, in a way, spiritual beings. Everybody probably have different shapes and sizes of bodies and different belief systems, and that's perfectly fine, because I'm able to go beyond those belief systems and understand who the person is. At the end of the day, they are also peaceful, loving, pure, happy, and that's what they really need, and that's what they're doing. What are they doing for? So how are they different from me? Absolutely not. And not just in that space, also when I look at levels. So there's somebody who's more senior to me, somebody who's more junior to me. I'm able to connect with the same spiritual lens, which brings that parity then for us. And then I'm able to interact in a much better fashion with both of them. So there's no something of overdependence or having any sense of inferiority or superiority. I'm able to actually bring that particular space there and able to connect much better with everyone.
But have you? Could you share us some experiences, or maybe some of your colleagues or previous work settings where in this kind of situation has kind of resolved actually?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there are so many. One thing that really comes to me, I remember there was this person who was in our finance department, and I was in sales at that point in time, and he would be very difficult to deal with all of us. I mean, he was somebody who would think that he's a senior person and he's been there for much longer in the organization, and everybody has to go to him for approvals, and we would go for approvals, and he would always look at whatever we want to coach to our clients, and he would kind of reject it, say change this. And by the time we make all those changes and send it back to the client many times would say, no, I mean, your offer doesn't really work for us. But I would go to him, and I would see most of the other people, the team and the sales were irritated, and they would really not like this person. But I would wear my spiritual lens, and I would go beyond the role he's playing, or beyond his background, and beyond all those things that people would see him as, that judgmental space. And I would accept him for the way he was.
So when you mentioned you're wearing your spiritual lens, what was that lens seeing at that moment?
It is looking at somebody who's playing a role. And I would go beyond just, the behaviors of that person, or some of those idiosyncrasies, or some of those, like they would think that he's a very egoistic person. He's doing this because he wants to trouble us and those things. So I would really go beyond that, and I would say, okay, fine, those are certain things, the way this person might be behaving, and he could be influenced, and he could have certain weaknesses, but I'm going and looking at the soul, the being who's truly there, who is somebody who cares. Maybe he cares for something else and not this, so he probably has some misdirection, and I was accepting him for whatever he was. So I was always giving him that benefit of doubt and really looking at him.
That's wonderful.
With a very beautiful way. And so when I would do that, I would go to him, and it's very easy to make out, right? So like, if you know that this person accepts me versus this person has rejected me, you can see that and sense that from that person's, the way the person's attitude is towards you, because they say the attitude would determine the way you kind of extend your vibrations, and that will affect the atmosphere. And so if I've had this space inside where I'm accepting that person, straight away they say that the face is the index of the soul.
Yeah.
Whatever you're thinking, of the mind, right? Whatever you think, it can absolutely come into your face. You can't hide it for long. So when I go with that space, he recognizes it, he understands it, he feels those vibrations. And so initially he would try to do the same that he did with others, but I saw that very quickly. The moment I go with him and say, hey, I want this to be done, he would say, okay, go ahead. I mean, you don't need to really check this for me. And then I would go back. It was a huge shift. And then the other sales people would see the kind of behavior he has with me and say, is there I can see some special treatment you're getting, Prakash. What are you really doing to him? Or what are you giving him that he's doing this for you? I say, nothing. Absolutely nothing. I'm just like everyone else. I'm doing what I have to do.
I think that's one of the things that's beautiful about Raj Yoga, which I also kind of experience, is that the moment you create the thought is very powerful. And because it's really just amazing that you don't see it, but you kind of experience it, that once you create the thought of, like what you said, accepting this person, that kind of reverberates and comes back without question. It's just like almost magic. That there is a kind of recognition beyond what you see. And that's really what I am just really amazed how these things happen, and how that connection is built between two people, wherein you just realize how you are connected to the soul. It is a soul to soul connection. That kind of exchange of energy, of acceptance, is actually what's at work, what's at play in a particular office setting. And I think that's a wonderful thing to witness.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah. Anything more you want to say about that?
No, I mean, I just want to add to what you spoke about, the importance of thought.
Yeah.
It's that one thought that makes a difference. And I think many people just feel, what's this positive thinking all about? It doesn't really work. I mean, you can't just have positive thoughts and have things change. And we're not suggesting that you just sit down and have positive thoughts and everything will become positive for you. But what I really understand is the fundamental basis for everything that we achieve in life is a thought. If I want to progress at a financial level, check my thoughts in terms of how am I thinking. If I want to progress in my relationships, check my thoughts. What is my thoughts with my relationships? If I want to progress in a space with my physical health, check my thoughts. I mean, to the extent that I'm able to have powerful thoughts about and determined thoughts, I'm able to do things. And it starts from a positive space. If I'm going to be very negative about, I think I can eat anything, it doesn't make a difference, who cares, I can't do this, those wasteful, unnecessary thoughts that I create for myself, I'm not able to do them. So thoughts are the fundamental, the foundation for every thought, every word, every feeling, every action that I create thereafter. So if I want to have more positive in my life, if I want to see a positive development financially, with physical relationships, with my physical health, with my mind, everything, because that's what we're talking about today. Everyone's talking about mental health and physical health and all that stuff. Where does it start from?
From the thought.
It starts from the thought level. And so if I can go to that space and if I can shift thought and start becoming more positive there, I will definitely start seeing positive impact everywhere. Yes, I have to follow through with my actions and words. I can't just sit down thinking just positive and go. And that's where people have the problem with positive thinking. But it follows with thought. It follows with words and actions. So it's very important to
I want to follow up on that, because you mentioned about thoughts, and now we're moving to that space of understanding thoughts more. But there are people who say that, I had this thought a lot of time, but I couldn't push through it. What's lacking with that thought? Because people they wanted to do it. They have thought about it a lot of times, but what's holding them back? What makes the thought not move into the space of action?
We have something which we call our own, habits that we've actually created over a period of time. And so breaking out of those habits can be a little difficult, can be very tough. That's one thing. Two is the environment that I'm in. The environment may not really allow me to go into that particular new habit that I want to create. Let's say, for example, I have a thought where I want to wake up a little more early and I want to do some meditation. I want to create some good thoughts. And I just determined myself to do that. But then, before I go to sleep, one of my family members says, I've got this beautiful movie that we can watch on Netflix. It's something new that's coming. And so here am I wanting to do that thing in the morning. I want to take that time out. And here's something also attractive for me at that space. So then I'm in this quandary: should I do this? Should I do that?
Yeah, what
and
do
then
you
I also
do?
have some pressure from
Yeah.
this. Come on, you can do that after 2 days. Come, do this first.
Right. So
And
how
then,
do you
and then I'm just
move away?
flowing away in
Yeah.
that. So I feel it's very important for me to hold myself accountable, and accountability is important. If there's no accountability,
Yes.
nothing can happen. I mean, we sit on the 31st of December and we make a lot of resolutions. And for the first 15 days, every gym is absolutely
Full.
chock-a-block. Yeah. And after the 15th of January,
Yeah,
the
commitment.
So what happens is we want to do it. The thought is there at that level. We have a goal. We know how to get to that goal. We are very good at planning. And these are my strategies. This is what I'm going to do. I mark those calendars out. And okay, these are important stuff for me. But then life takes over, and then I just get myself carried away by my other aspects of my habits, people, and then I'm not so disciplined. So I think somewhere there must be a space of accountability. How do I hold myself accountable? If it's difficult, look for somebody else who can hold you accountable. And I know so many people who say, "Can the two of us do this together?"
Yeah.
Okay, if I miss out, you are there to hold me accountable for it.
Yeah.
So that's a very good. So for me, I remember when I used to wake up early and do that.
Yeah, if somebody's like, you had this lazy thought, I don't want to get up today, I feel like I want to sleep more. So what do you do when this comes in and you're thinking?
I have a commitment with somebody else saying, you know what, I will meet you, we'll go together to that place. And now that person is dependent on me.
Right.
And so somehow creatively,
creative
what are the ways? Creative accountability. Creatively, how can I make myself more accountable so that I know that if I miss this out, it's not, the consequences are there for it.
Yeah, we understand the consequences.
Yeah, if there are no consequences, you do it, you don't do it, doesn't matter at all. Might as well not do it. You don't really have that drive, or it's your habits will take over. So I think that's important, and start creatively thinking about how can I get myself to be more accountable here.
Okay.
And I think one very simple thing of accountability is, you have a chart with you before you go to sleep. You do some journaling. You kind of revise and see, I made these commitments to myself. How am I doing with that? And so at least that you fix that. This is the time when I'm going to sit back. It's that just the think time. I want to think about how I've done, and then I want to put some commitments for the next day. And if you do that one thing regularly, that becomes your time for looking at the stuff that you've committed yourself to, and you're holding yourself accountable.
That's a very beautiful practice. I think it's a good thing to learn, and a quick and easy way to get yourself back into the space where you wanted to be.
Yeah.
So I think we're nearing our 30-minute mark, Prakash, but it's been a very enjoyable conversation. I have a last question. Before we jump in later on, if we have the chance to have you again in the show, it's so amazing to have a chit chat with you on all these aspects. But for you, what is self-actualization? And have you do you see yourself reaching that in the near future, or are you there already? Would you say?
Well, if I was there, I would not even know that. And I think it's a stage where I'm very naturally what I am, and I'm far away from that.
Okay.
Far away from that. I'm at this point in time, I know it, and I'm reflecting on it. I am the third lesson, which is I'm trying to imbibe all those things. And I forgot to actually mention the fourth lesson that we actually learn in Raja Yoga meditation is when I reach a stage where I'm inculcating and imbibing, then I'm sharing with others.
Okay.
And so that's another part of Raja Yoga meditation. I think all these four are supportive in helping us reach that stage of self-actualization. So when I'm starting to give also and I'm sharing with others, I'm learning more when I'm sharing with others, and it's reflecting back into me. So all these things are still ongoing for me, and the journey is long. It's inching forward. I can see I'm in the right direction, but slowly I would reach there.
So you have chosen this path, actually, that you have invested your time and both in your career and your spiritual life. I understand in the Indian culture, it is very, this is the second last question. This is getting interesting. But so I understand in the Indian culture, there's a lot of pressure for people to be in a kind of ideal understanding of what a society wants you to be. Either the normal way, either you become an engineer or a doctor. I've seen this and I've heard it a lot of times, and some people choose differently. And I also meet a lot of young people today. They feel forced to get married, or they feel forced, like they have to do it for their parents. and then they commit something and then they realize, I don't want to do it. I
Yeah.
feel like I just committed to my parents.
Mm.
Having taken a different path,
Yeah.
what would you say to them
Yeah.
on this?
Yeah, to me, honestly, there's a question I ask myself: do I want to fit in with the norms of society, or do I want to fit in with what I think is for me? What sort of life do I want to live? You know? And I can see that what I've chosen is the society will want me to do so many things. They'll expect me to do this. They'll expect me to do that. But I want to ask myself a question: what am I really cut out for? What is my ideals? What are my values? What is my aim in life? And it doesn't have to be the same as what society would expect. So,
didn't you feel the pressure from relatives and friends?
There was a lot of pressure.
But personally, also, do you feel like you had a pull that you just had to get away from, or it was really a natural choice?
It was something that, as I said, was more an inner call for me.
Oh,
and
wow.
I was able to listen to it and I was able to pursue it. And so for me, it was not necessarily doing everything that society would usually do, the way they would think, but it was really carving my own path. And I felt that that was what was important for me. I was aligned to that. It was what I was really like from my heart. It comes out from there.
Nice.
And I think I was just more listening to myself, doing what my heart wanted.
You have listened and you have heard yourself, and you said, this is what I want to do. And you've been doing it great. So it's a lovely thing to hear that. So last question is Diwali time. What is Diwali for you, and what would you say to everyone there celebrating Diwali?
You know, Diwali is the festival of lights, and I think if you look at light, it's all about you. Whilst you lighting up everything around outside of you, also look at your own self, light yourself up. I think that's the most important part.
Light yourself.
Because I feel most of these festivals really have a very spiritual significance. And somewhere we are losing the significance of it at a spiritual level. It's becoming very physical. And we're doing most of the things. We're doing all the other stuff, getting those sweets and sharing the sweets and distributing the sweets. So be more light inside. Like when you're moving around, how can you be more easy with yourself, with people? How can you probably be more sweet, more kind? Not just doing one day, just this time, but can I actually continuously do that? So, celebrate Diwali every day by lighting yourself up and staying light always.
Wonderful. Lighting yourself up. I think it's a good wrap up to our discussion and our conversation today. Thank you. And I hope you all will come and join us again. We love to hear real experiences, ordinary people with extraordinary experiences. I think that's what we wanted to keep experiencing here at the Raj Yoga Center, and at with everyone that we keep meeting in these conversations. Join us again next week. Thank you and good evening.